Welcome back, everyone, to another recap episode of the Wimbledon Championships. We are now in the final. Yes, we're in the final round. So we've just watched the semifinals. This is going to be our semifinal recap. Again, we try to call these things TLDWs, too long, didn't watch. We are here for you because we watched it all. Today was a great day of semifinals. Yesterday was also another great day. And sorry that we did not have the quarterfinal recap going, but my internet was really bad. I was trying to record while I was in Newport at the Hall of Fame Open, and the internet was not cooperating because when I tried to edit it, my sound was really bad, and it's not worth it putting bad audio out there. So we are here to recap the semis and also preview the finals. We will also be looking at the doubles, what I got up to at the Hall of Fame Open, and what is turning out to be an incredible field at the Mubadala City DC Open, because it is looking like a tournament not to miss. Nick, hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Anastasia. How are you?
Doing really well. Had the screening today, which was really fun. It's because, the screenings, especially, the earlier rounds and even this semifinal rounds, they start early. I'm someone who wakes up at 6 a.m., so it's hard for me to say 8 a.m. is early, but early for most people. So they're always a quiet affair, and we get a lot of people who come to sort of work out of the cafe where we do the screening. So it's actually a cool vibe to see just people working and us, and watching the tennis at the same time. It was also really nice because a lot of the people who were there today are coming back tomorrow and also on Sunday to watch the finals. So I think we'll have a bigger crowd for Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, it's the weekend and it's the finals.
Sounds exciting. Yeah, I'm glad. Again, there's a tennis bar in New York. That's the coolest thing. So
yeah, at least we are creating one.
Absolutely. So I'm excited. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed it. And I think, hey, look, you don't have to have an early start. Well, depends if you want to watch the doubles tomorrow. But you don't have to have an early start.
We're going to talk about that actually, because I have a little gripe with the Wimbledon website and app, but I have decided that yes, we are going to cover the doubles. So I will be there early tomorrow because, if you want to come watch the doubles finals with me, I'm going to be watching the doubles finals. So I'm going to have the screening start a bit earlier. But let us get into the semifinals. We had semifinals on the men's and women's side, and I think we have a stellar finals of Wimbledon. Despite all the chaos, despite all the seeds falling and all the craziness in the beginning, I think we are wrapping up this tournament in a glorious fashion. Let's start with the semifinals. I kind of want to talk about the semifinals that I watched that was just the most fun, which was Aryna Sabalenka versus Amanda Anisimova.
Hands down the best semifinal that happened out of the four. Easily.
Yep.
I mean, it was so good. It was so good. Like, both of them were on it. But yeah, I looked at that and I thought, I can't tell which one's the world number one.
Right? But first, okay, can we just stop for a second? Because I am just realizing your shirt says eat, sleep, what?
Eat, sleep, tennis, repeat.
There we go.
Which has been kind of my theme of Wimbledon, to be honest. So yeah.
That is awesome. Sorry I cut you off, but I just got so distracted by your shirt. But that was an awesome semifinal match.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's going to go down as like one of the best matches we've had all year, to be honest, because it was so close all the way through. It was such good quality between the two of them. It was really exciting, and you could feel the intensity of this whole thing. Of like, they both wanted it, they were both working for it, and yeah, this could end up being, depending on how Saturday goes, one of Amanda Anisimova's best performances ever.
Yeah.
So I'm super pleased for her. She kind of really proved herself, and yeah, once again proved that matchups matter in this situation, because she's one of the few people out there who can compete like toe to toe, shot for shot with Aryna Sabalenka and win, especially with that wonderful backhand that she's got. So, and what also impressed me about Amanda in that match was she didn't panic. Like every time that she might have a setback, and I'm thinking particularly when she went to break down at the start of the third, and then she got broken when she was trying to serve for the match, missed the match point, and we're like, oh dear. And the next game, she comes out and she's like, yeah, what? So that happened. And then just comes after Aryna like nothing. She didn't have a major setback. And I was super impressed by how she dealt with that situation. So props to her. She is a world-class player. And we've been thinking that those of us who were in tennis have been thinking that she would be for a long time. Especially since she made the French Open semifinals at 17. And this is her finally fulfilling that potential.
Yeah, no, it was incredible to watch. And you're right. Like this match had so much ebbs and flow in it. I love a match that goes back and forth and it's not just so straightforward. Amanda Anisimova, she won the first set. And then I'm thinking, oh, wow, she might run away with this. Aryna's not playing great. And Aryna just in that second set, it was going back and forth. And Aryna just really got angry at some point in the match. Some stuff was happening. And, it was, I've always been thinking about this, like tennis players are so friendly all the time, like handshake at the net and, hugs and, oh, she played great and she's awesome. I like a little bit of tension. And that match had it in spades. There was tension. There was, someone's mad at the other person for grunting or screaming or whatever it is. It was just so great. But also the tennis was good. There was a point in the second set of Aryna Sabalenka running down a ball. I mean, she must have done at least 5 miles just running down this ball and finally won the point. And it was so epic. If you look on Wimbledon social media, there's just this photo of her with her hand raised. And, it's just like, this match was so great. And it kind of reminded me, like a lot of times, a very loose premise of this podcast is I'm the ATP girl and Nick, you're the UTA guy. But slowly over time, like us doing this over the couple of years, I definitely watch way more WTA tennis than I did 2 years ago. And can I just say, if you are not watching the women play these days, you are missing out on some epic fun tennis. And that's what this semifinal was for me. I just thought, that was a good time. Like that was an entertaining, good time watching these two duke it out. And it's nice seeing Amanda kind of fulfill her dreams a little bit. I talked to her, I think I've mentioned this before, but I talked to her in Charleston earlier this year. And I was listening back to that interview and I'm actually going to post it tomorrow morning. So if you want a little bit of sort of like a primer for the finals, come back tomorrow morning and watch this video that I'm going to post of Amanda. And I had actually misquoted her because I think I've said before here that she wanted to be back in the top 10. She actually says she wants to be in the top 5. And I think I maybe, kind of changed her quote a little bit so that it wasn't too extreme, but here she is. She is this close to getting into the top 5 for the first time. And it's kind of crazy to see how she has bounced back after taking some time off from the game. And I love her fight. Like she did not back down. Aryna Sabalenka is the world number 1, a very tough player. Like she can and has before hit you off the court. And Amanda Anisimova was like, no, not today. I'm going to stand my ground. And like you said, when she lost those match points, I really thought it was done. Like I thought, oh, Aryna Sabalenka is coming back and that's it. But she just came out in the next game. I was like, no, actually, I'm going to fight till the very, very end. And I love that.
Yeah, Amanda Anisimova is one of these stories of the year because she also won Doha earlier this year. And she's one North American hard court swing, like good one away from doing really, really well. I looked up. She's actually not done that well at the US Open. Previously, she's never been past the third round and she's only got that far once. There's still more to come from her. There still could be more to come from her in the final.
Yeah, so, great performance from Amanda Anisimova. She's now a finalist at Wimbledon. Nick, I will have to say I did not watch this next one because I was switching back between doubles and I just did not catch most of the Iga Bencic match. I was initially surprised by the scoreline, but after reading a little bit about Bencic, I thought maybe not, but you watched it, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So, and
Yes.
Bencic is the kind of player who usually bothers Swiatek on grass because quite a lot of people talk about the fact that Iga struggles with people who hit very hard to her forehand. Bencic is not one of those players, but like over the years on grass, she's actually lost to players who kind of counterpunch a bit more, kind of have a bit more kind of variety and playfulness in the way they do things, like Ons Jabeur or Aryna Svitolina or Yulia Putintseva. But Bencic kind of falls into that category a little bit, can just focus on putting the ball in the most awkward place possible. That did not happen. That did not happen whatsoever. So I guess my thing is for those of you who may be getting a bit newer to tennis, I know if you're not familiar, maybe Anastasia, I think the best way of just explaining this to you would be, have you ever watched an Iga demolition job before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Not against a player like Bencic, though. Gosh, was it like...
Okay, so remember the Roland Garros final against Paolini last year?
Oh, that was a demolition job. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We are talking similar things happening
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Because Iga was dialed in. Iga was
Yeah.
dialed in. Like, Bencic got a couple of games to deuce and tried to come back a bit. I think she did break Iga once, and Iga wasn't phased. Iga was like, yeah, she's fine. And like, it's the way she plays, you know, she can hit balls like sort of middle of the court, plenty of space to the lines, and the ball just kick past the opponent. And she's been finding a way to do that on grass, and she's perfected it against Bencic, like completely perfected it. It looked like this is the Iga we've come to see crushing people on clay and on hard courts. And that's what happened. Bencic tried.
Yeah.
Bencic couldn't compete. As someone who really, really enjoys watching Iga in full flow, that was a really, really good match to watch. I think I got distracted during it for some reason, but I did watch it. I was like, oh, yeah, no, she's got this, like 100%. Like, it was so fun to watch, at least from my perspective. I guess, I don't know, because like some people are like, oh, but Nick, it was really one-sided.
So,
first of all, I really, really like watching Iga Swiatek playing anyway, just the way that she plays. But I guess, again, from a fan's point of view, Anastasia, have you ever watched a player, and it doesn't matter if they're winning really, really easily, you just love watching how they do things, and that captivates your attention?
So that's actually a really good question, because I was kind of, I was actually going to ask that question to our audience a little bit in what do people think about watching someone absolutely just annihilate and just demolish another person across the court, the bagel factory's open, all of that stuff. And the answer for me is not so much fun, because even with the Djokovic Sinner match, which we will come to talk about in a few, I kind of after the first set, I kind of tuned out. I was at the screening and it was going on, but I was like, okay, great. I know how this is going to go just from watching the first set of it. I like a little bit of jeopardy. It's why I liked the Amanda Anisimova and Sabalenka, because you're just you can't take your eyes off, because you're sort of well, I don't know what's going to happen. A little bit with, that sort of demolition job where a player just comes out and crushes. I'm just kind of okay, I know what's going to happen. So why am I watching, this particular match or anything like that? So I would be interested to find out what people think, because I love when Iga plays well, and there's jeopardy, and she's fighting back and you see her skills, like the match she played against Sabalenka at the French Open, that 3-setter. That was so much fun, because they're going back and forth, and it's one person's coming up against the other. And even when Iga comes out on top of those matches, I still love them, because there's a little bit of jeopardy there. I need some jeopardy in my tennis.
I guess it depends on what you like. So I'm going to say that this is not unusual for me. I used to be a Roger Federer fan when he was playing, and I could watch him win really easily because he would occasionally do something entertaining. He would occasionally invent a shot out of nowhere, or kind of just exhibit insane levels of ball control. I feel like there's matches where I'm trying to think, Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz doesn't win anything in straight sets, but there's always that little bit of jeopardy with Carlos that, occasionally he'll get bored and do something silly. So I can watch a Carlos Alcaraz straight sets match, but I'm going to put this to you again, proper hot old school. Let's not be neutral for a second. You are a Rafa girl. You're a Rafa girl, always have been. Can you honestly say to me you've never watched a Rafael Nadal straightforward win and not absolutely loved watching him at work? Not because the other players not showed up, but because he's a step better. So think about him winning Roland Garros in 2008 against Federer, or one of the team finals, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say no. Like, I really just don't like that sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way that he plays where you're sort of, and it's funny because I can't remember what I was reading. And it was almost like a quote from Rafa where he was kind of like, I never go into a match thinking I'm going to win. Like, even if it's to number 114 in the world, he's always like, they could get me. And maybe that's the attitude he had coming into every match. So it showed a little bit in the way he played. Not that I'm saying it doesn't show in other people or whatever, but I don't know. Frankly, it's why after a while, like watching Serena Williams play was just kind of like, okay. There's no jeopardy. If she's just going to go win everything, it's like, call me at the finals, call me at the trophy ceremony. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I need, for there to be a possibility that you're not going to win. And it's almost why I like Carlos, because you're like, every day you're like, I don't know, you're like the best player in the world, but Lord knows you're going to lose to, whoever, tomorrow. So yeah, personally for me, like, I like Jeopardy, and it doesn't matter who it is. Like, it doesn't, if it's Rafa, if it's Serena, if it's all these super great players that I love, if it's straightforward, I tune out. I kind of like lose interest.
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. Like, if there's a certain player that I think if it's a player that I like their personality more than their game, then yes, I'll do the same as you. If I could watch the way this person plays tennis all day, then I'm perfectly happy watching them win straightforwardly. I don't think Iga's going to win straightforwardly against Amanda, though. I don't think that match is going to be straightforward whatsoever for either of them. Whoever.
Okay, so we're going to save that for a final preview, but let's finish up wrapping up the semifinals here.
Yeah, do you want to talk about, because you mentioned Carlos.
Yes.
We talk about he can't do things straightforwardly because he did it again.
But I have to say, so usually when we say Carlos Alcaraz, he went on a little surgeon, like a little, exactly, a little trip, floated around somewhere, and then he's in a 5-set match, and you're like, how did he get here to be in a 5-set match? This was a 4-set match against Taylor Fritz, where Taylor Fritz lost, but I don't think it was, yes, there was a game there that Carlos played really badly and was broken to love. Was that in the second set? I think it was.
Fritz broken to win the set.
Exactly. So yes, there was that, but I don't think Carlos really had that big of, sort of a wander in this match specifically. I do think Taylor Fritz really came in there with a plan and really played very, very well. He served excellently. And I kind of want to spend this time, because I think we're going to talk about Carlos in the final preview, but I really want to give Fritz his moment, because I think he's a player that I think a lot of people don't kind of give enough credit for what he does. He's constantly the top American. He's constantly the one winning the titles. He's constantly the one getting to the later ends of these Grand Slams. And to me, seems like the closest American man, because the women are fine. He's the closest American man to win a Grand Slam title. And yet he just doesn't get the credit for, I think, all the hard work he does. I was very, very impressed with him in this final, because if this had gone to a 5th set, I think he had a very good chance in this semifinal.
You could have taken that 4th set. It was just Carlos dialed it up in the last few points, and that caught him out. And I did feel like, maybe this one's going 5, and this would be very interesting 5th set if it did. I think Fritz does deserve some credit, especially since he got through this draw like a top player, like he did at the US Open last year when he made the finals. Like, when the draw opened up, he was like, right, this is my time, and he went for it. I know what you mean about Fritz's reputation, especially amongst people who are more into tennis. I recently had one of those online arguments, which I tried to avoid and sometimes get stuck into, with someone about whether Taylor Fritz was, quote, an elite player. And my answer was yes. His answer was no.
If you were in the top 10, if you're in the top 100, you are an elite player.
His argument was that only Sinner, Alcaraz and Djokovic are elite.
Yeah, so see, Nick, this is when I would have just stopped the argument. I was like, well, okay, cool, fine.
Well, yeah, he wasn't interested in getting into definitions anyway, so we've got that. But yeah, I think there's. I think with Fritz, he's very, very good. But I think what will help him a lot is if he can get a win against Carlos or Jannik or even Novak, because that's kind of what people are lacking. Is like he's really good and he'll get through everybody else, particularly at Wimbledon or the US Open, and he'll run into trouble against them. He has this block against those guys. Whereas the other American men that we have, like Ben Shelton's beaten Jannik Sinner. He hasn't beaten Carlos yet, but they always play really spectacular matches.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Paul seems to like playing them. Francis Tiafoe, there's a lot of belief in him and his abilities to make something a match. And I don't know if Taylor Fritz has ever made a match against one of these great players, like these people who are supermen amongst the ATP. These are the elite of the elite. And I think that's where the perception comes from wrongly, because if you actually watch his matches, he's trying his best. And look, he came very close to pushing Carlos to 5 sets. And
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what you're satisfied with. Personally, I think Taylor Fritz is here to stay for a few more years as one of the top guys. And watch out US Open, because he's coming to try and keep some of those points. So
Yeah.
yeah, Fritz definitely deserves a lot more respect for what he achieves, especially this grass court season. Like, I think how many matches has he won on grass this year? I think he won, what would have been like 4 or 5 matches in Stuttgart, another 4 or 5 in Eastbourne,
Yeah.
then another 5 to get to the semi-finals. You're already looking at like 13 to 15 match wins on grass. And that's more than Carlos, and Carlos barely loses on grass. So trust me, he is a contender every single Wimbledon we're going to get for the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, props to Taylor, and we will definitely talk about Carlos in a bit, but the final semifinals we had was, at least in the singles, was Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic. And I don't know what you think about this one, but like I said in the beginning, kind of after the first set, I tuned out a bit, because after the first set, I was like, Sinner's winning in straights, period. And I saw someone, it was Bastian on X. He tweeted this out and he goes, this looks like Novak Djokovic 2011 versus Novak Djokovic 2025. And I can't say he's wrong. If you're new to tennis and you don't remember, Novak Djokovic 2011 was just unbeatable. He was winning everything. His winning record was so good. It was kind of, I feel like it's hard to say when Novak's peak was, because I just think there were so many years he peaked. But that was one of them. And Novak Djokovic now, I'm sorry, but he's 37, or is he 38? I can't even remember. He's
38.
37.
He just turned 38, yeah.
38. And if you're playing a younger version of yourself, I've said this before, but I feel like I just posted this before we came on to start recording, but I think the problem with this matchup for Novak Djokovic compared to the one that he has with Alcaraz, where it's more even, like he's won, it's like half and half, where Alcaraz wins, Novak wins, that kind of thing. The moment Sinner figured it out, it was like the light bulb was on, and now I am the new Novak Djokovic, and it's him playing himself, and that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I'll give you a stat about that 2011 season that we're talking about. So just to give you an idea, from Australian Open to the US Open in 2011, Djokovic lost 1 match. I'm not counting the one he retired against Andy Murray in Cincinnati. If you do, that's 2. But yeah, that's how insane he was in 2011.
Yeah.
That was the first kind of, heck, this guy is the best in the world now. And, that 1 match loss was to Roger Federer. So go figure, who played out of his mind. So I guess with Djokovic now, I think, so I called this match.
Mm-hmm.
And very often I was saying, Djokovic is suffering in the same way that he's made other people suffer for years. And his age is showing when he is up against Carlos and Jannik. He can beat everybody else. That's the thing. He beats everybody else, particularly on grass, particularly in Australia. He is the 3rd best in the world right now, behind Jannik and Carlos and ahead of everybody else. The question is, how long is he going to stay ahead of everybody else, and can he get close to Carlos and Jannik? Now, he did beat Carlos this year, and Carlos has beaten him once in the last 2 years, since crazy Cincinnati match they had, and that was that Wimbledon final where Djokovic is on one leg. Like, Carlos is a little bit scared of Novak still. Jannik is not. Jannik is not.
Not at all.
But I think the other thing that showed Djokovic's age was he was struggling to move. He was definitely injured during this match. And so that didn't help. So Jannik Sinner was just being ruthless and just going, oh, fine, I'm going to make you move. I'm going to make you move, old man. And the other thing I think...
And that's the sort of thing that Carlos would not do.
No, but the other thing that I noticed from this match was, so Djokovic actually went up a break in the third set, 3-love. And he actually had break points to go 4-love double break up. And he didn't, and he let that get to him. And I've never seen something, it's very rare that I've seen a missed opportunity get to Novak Djokovic like that. And from that point, the match was done. Sinner won 6 games in a row, virtually bageled the man. And that's where we're at. We are in the era of Djokovic. Props to him for being the 3rd best player in the world on paper, even though he's ranked 6th, because he doesn't play enough for the points for him to get to put him where he deserves to be ranked. But yeah, props to him for still being that level of good at 38. But if Jannik and Carlos are there,
they're there. Yeah.
You can't say, but if Jannik and Carlos weren't there, because they are.
Yeah.
And this is the era we're in. And we are now in this question of how much longer are we going to have Novak Djokovic for, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. We'll save that for another podcast because we could be talking about that for a while. And we still have a ways to go. I definitely want to hit on really quick the doubles, like semifinal matches we had, because one of them, Nick, was the match of the day yesterday, I think. Hijikata and Pell, because why I think this match was maybe the match of the day is mostly for the people who were there in person. Because the match between Hijikata and Pell, who are an alternate team, an ultimate doubles team, which means, if you don't know, they weren't in the draw, so someone withdrew and they got in as alternates. And they were playing against the number 1 seeds, Aravel and Pavic. They beat them. But I can't remember what the scores were, but it definitely went to
6-7, 7-6, 7-6.
In the tiebreak at the end.
Well, the tiebreak was 10.
Was 10-8 and in the last set. But it was just watching the crowd react to them, to every point, to the win. That's what Grand Slams are about. That's what going to a Grand Slam in person is, to be in the crowd at one of these epic matches where the complete underdogs are going against the number 1 and everyone's losing their mind. Like, that looks like the best time.
Yeah, and it's good for the crowd. So just to give you a bit of context for what the crowd that was there, you can't queue for centre court and court 1 on semi-finals and finals days. I definitely not centre court, maybe court 1. Regardless, most of the people on court 1 would probably have been offered tickets for court 1 on that day in the ballot. And it's a take it or leave it thing. Like, if you say no, you have no Wimbledon tickets that year. So I guess, that would be a question again for our audience, but I'm going to put it to you, Anastasia. If it was you and you got your Wimbledon ticket, like saying, congratulations, you've been successful in the ballot. This is the ticket we're offering you. If you say no, you get no Wimbledon tickets. Unless you queue for a queue another day.
Yeah.
We're offering you court 1 on week 2 Thursday, where there will be the men's double semi-finals, which means you'll miss the single semi-finals that happen on that day. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it. Would you take that ticket?
4, 5, 6 times over. I would take that ticket all day long. Because, and here's a quick anecdote. I was walking around the Newport Open, so the Hall of Fame Open, and these women were walking by me and they were heading to the center court. And so the way it's situated, there's a big center court on one side, and on the other side there are like 3 other smaller courts where matches are being played. And this was on the 3rd day of the tournament that I was there. So by the 3rd day of the tournament, all the singles matches were happening on the center court and all the doubles matches were happening on the outside courts. And these women were walking by me heading to center court. And they were looking at their program and they're like, oh, okay, so we're going to center court. And they were looking, they were like, oh, there are no doubles on the center court. And her friend, the woman's friend, was like, yeah, all the doubles are on the outside. And the woman goes, oh, that's a shame. If you go to these tournaments in person, that's where the fun time's at the doubles court. So yes, would I have loved to be on center court watching Amanda Anisimova and Aryna Sabalenka? Of course. But if I'm being offered a ticket and my option is court 1, men's semifinal doubles, sign me up. That crowd looked like they were having the time of their lives. And I'm someone who enjoys an atmosphere. Like, I enjoy the tennis and the people around me. So it just looked like the most awesome time for sure.
I actually think that the people who get doubles tickets actually have an amazing time. When you get to Wimbledon, they realise like, oh yeah, that's when the crowd kind of gets a bit rowdy because they can get into it and it can be really, really competitive.
My kind of crowd.
Let loose a little bit more. So yeah, that was fun. That was a fun doubles match. And the win, Hijikata and Pell. Again, there seems to be a theme here of really competitive double semi-final and then one less competitive. They're playing Cash and Glasspool, who I got mixed up with earlier because they beat the Roland Garros champions and they got through pretty straightforwardly and are probably the favourites to win Wimbledon because they've pretty much got to every grass court final they've played this year.
They were, for me, after I saw them in Queens, because I watched one of their matches in Queens, I was like, they're going to win Wimbledon. They look like such a dialed-in pair, and I wasn't surprised when they beat the defending champions. So yeah, they're the team to beat, but there's nothing like an underdog on fire. Like, Hijikata looked like he was going for that Wimbledon title, and I expect a very fun final.
You know, Hijikata and Pell have saved match point in 3 of the matches they've played.
Oh, it's on. It is on. When is that? Sunday? Or no, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. It's before the women's final.
It's tomorrow. Join me at McCarran Parkhouse. We're going to get lit at 8 a.m. in the morning watching the men's doubles.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like so much fun.
I mean, the women's doubles final sounds pretty fun as well.
Yes, it does. Talking about moving on to the women's semifinals that happened today. Another one where truly honestly, I'm not surprised by the result. But Ostapenko and Hei defeated the defending champions, Taylor Townsend and Siniakova. And that was the finals of the Australian Open earlier this year. And I just knew that Ostapenko and Hei were going to come out looking for revenge. I just knew it. And they did it.
I saw a post on X saying that since 2018, either Siniakova or Shea Su Wei have won the women's doubles. It's been one of them in whatever pairing they're at the time. But yeah, that was actually quite a close straight sets match they played. 6-4. It was pretty competitive, as you would expect from a blockbuster matchup that they had. They'll be playing Veronika Kudermetova and Elise Mertens, who dropped the first set and then dominated the rest of the match against their opponents, Desiree Kravchik and Olivia Gadecki. So that's going to be quite interesting because Elise Mertens is also a very renowned doubles player who's been world number 1 and won a few Grand Slams. So high quality finals lineup that will be happening on Sunday before the men's final.
Yes. That just got me excited. I'm like, is it tomorrow yet?
You know, we've got mixed doubles champions, by the way, now.
We do have mixed doubles champions because Katerina Siniakova is the GOAT of doubles tennis. She could partner with me and we would win Wimbledon. Just say. I mean, I really don't think we could, but she would make a believer out of me. But yes, Katerina Siniakova and her partner was Sem Verbeek. Is that how you say it? They won the mixed doubles Wimbledon championship title, and she's completed the set. She's now won a slam in every doubles category, which is cool.
Yeah, ladies doubles and mixed doubles. So
yeah,
well done. Now she's got to get the set of sets and get mixed doubles at all of them.
Ooh, that would be. I mean, I see her doing it. I hope she gets a wild card into the U.S. Open mixed doubles championship because that would be great.
You need to put Katerina Siniakova in that mixed doubles lineup at the US Open. I think that is now very clear that she needs to be in there.
And also, I don't know about you, as someone who likes a little bit of drama and jeopardy, I would love them to actually do it right. So yes, have, Carlos and, Emma and have, Sinner Navarro, all the fun names, have all those people in, but then have the doubles champions from last year. So that would be, who won last year? It was
Sara Errani and Andrea Vavasori, who are in. They were in the list of names.
Yeah, so have them, have Siniakova, have a few here's the thing. Taylor Townsend is in already with Ben Shelton. Like, have some double specialists in there and just go mano a mano. See who wins. Like, that's what I want.
Can we do a fun speculation? We appreciate we wouldn't, it seems like the US Open has match made all these pairs, let's be honest.
Yes.
It came out that Jannik Sinner spoke to Emma Navarro for the first time ever after it was announced that they were going to be doubles partners at the US Open. But who would you put with Katerina Siniakova?
I mean, just for the drama, and I wish he was playing better right now, but Thomas Mahak.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes. Because can you imagine? Oh, that would be so much fun. That would be great. Because again,
they're on speaking terms right now.
I know if they're on speaking terms, if he's not injured, because he hasn't really played that well this year and retires a lot, so he's dealing with a lot of injuries. But they did win the gold medal together, so we know they can win together for sure. But if it's not him, who else is out there who doesn't have a partner?
Jakub Menšik?
That could be interesting. Jakub Menšik could be really interesting. That could be cool. I was actually thinking of, what about even Harry Heliovara, another doubles specialist, and see if, because I would love that.
I know. Rajiv Ram.
Oh my God, they're winning. Sorry. They played doubles really well, because that would be, I know we're going on a tangent here. We're supposed to be talking about Wimbledon, but that is the ultimate because obviously, and if you haven't seen it in the news, the doubles specialists are very upset with what the US Open is doing, because it's not giving them the opportunity to compete and earn a living, because they do earn money from playing mixed doubles. And it would really be cool if they just put up these singles players with double specialists and just go mano a mano, because I think that will definitely help, almost ease tensions a little bit, because, hey, if a singles team that just met each other yesterday can beat a specialist doubles team, then maybe we should be doing more of these things. You know what I mean? But I just think either way, the storylines would just be fun. People would watch it. If you're trying to get a ticket, they're all sold out already. That's how we know. Expensive. They were super expensive originally. Now they've sold out and they're up for resale, even more so. So the US Open knew what they were doing. If you just want to kind of gauge if it's been successful or not, just based on the amount of time, the amount that people are talking about it, and the ticket sales, they've won on both counts already. But we gotta go back to Wimbledon. This is going to
be a long one, guys. We may as well do a regular podcast at this point.
Exactly.
Do we want to do Newport and City now, or do we want to do that on Sunday?
Yeah, we could probably do that on Sunday, because then this will be definitely a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, looking at this, you've been there, and that's about looking forward.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I've just seen ticket situations. So do you want to do 2 minutes on Newport, in case that's something about people wanting to go?
Well, yeah, just two. I guess I can do 2 quick minutes, and then on Sunday we'll give you kind of a full review of what the tournament is like if you want to go to it next year. But it's still going on now. And the way the tickets work there, why did you turn on the lights, Nick? I was actually kind of really liking your moody vibe.
Because I thought it was terrible on YouTube.
It just keeps getting darker and darker. I'm like, ooh, where's Nick?
The sun is going down in London. Well, I'm not in London. The honest answer, Anastasia, is I thought it would look better on YouTube if I turned the light on.
I think it'd be moody. It gives something people to think about. Why is it getting darker where Nick is? But either way, tournament at Newport, Hall of Fame Open is still going on right now. Tickets are available still, but what I wanted to talk about is the way it works, because it's something I'm seeing a lot now in US tournaments, because this is actually very similar to what's going to happen at Citi Open. They sell tickets to the center stadium, and that's it. So those are the only tickets you can get, are seats on center court. But then that gets you on the grounds, and then you can go to all the outside courts and stuff. But the only tickets available for sale are center court tickets. It's an interesting thing. I don't know, because it's almost one of those things where it's well, okay, if you've bought tickets to center court and then you go sit on another court because, of course, you want to go see someone on the outside courts or anything like that. I'm like, well, that seat's now just empty on center court. But I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you get an assigned seat with that?
Yeah, you do. So you get an assigned seat on center court, but then you can go out and wander and see.
You're just not going to fill any seats then.
Right. Exactly.
You're not going to fill your seats. Especially like Citi Open, there are going to be loads of players in the outside courts that other people want to see.
Yeah. So it's a fascinating, because obviously all the outside courts are smaller than the center courts. So obviously there'll be people to fill the outside courts or but if you're only selling center court tickets, then there'll always be empty spots on the center court, which is very interesting. And there are no ground passes. So it's a fascinating way they're doing it, but that's exactly how it works in Newport too. So you'll go to Newport and you're like, where is everyone? And they're all in the outside courts. They're all like watching doubles or just walking around or doing other things. But that's pretty much how the tickets work. They're still available so you can get them. I just love the fact that going there, like I had never seen Tatiana Maria in person. And watching that slice, so good. Watching that slice so up close, I was like, that is such a good shot. Like, it's so good. And then it's like, it just like grazes the net a little bit and then goes to the other side. And there's no way the other person's returning that. Like, it was fun to watch. And I think that's what these small tournaments, give people the ability to do, where you can see that level of play so up close. You had Tatiana Maria, you had Adrian Manarino, Chris Eubanks, Tristan Schoolcade, Katie McNally was there. I talked to her. It was really fun. I didn't realize, because she was the only one who took a set off Iga at Wimbledon.
So far.
And I did, So far. And they're friends. I didn't know that. So I got to talk to her, which it'll come out in a Meet the Player episode soon. But I got to talk to her.
This. Yeah, they won Junior Slam doubles together.
Yeah, but I didn't. That was Junior Slam doubles. I don't. I'm not sure.
If you saw after the match, I don't even missed it. After the match they played.
Yeah.
Good grief, how time was played. It would have been this time last week they played their match.
Yeah.
They were there was a lot of tagging each other in Instagram stories, and Katie McKnight said,
really?
Question mark, and Iga was like, let me know.
Oh, I don't follow either of them on Instagram. I didn't see this, but no, that was really cool talking to her. So again, you can see such high level players at this tournament, and that's why I always encourage people to go small and go to the smaller tournaments. And I mean, if you see a tournament like the Citi Open, it's a 500 level, but the field is bananas. They just announced Venus Williams today is playing. I mean, she'll probably be on center court, but that means if she's on center court, where are they going to put Naomi Osaka? Where are they going to put Emma Raducanu? Where are they going to put Lorenzo Musetti? These are all people in the draw. They can't put them all on center.
Have you ever heard of 24-hour tennis?
Can you imagine? That would be so crazy.
They'll put people at 2 a.m.
Just it's fine. Everyone's on center. Everyone's on center court. But yeah, okay, let's wrap up with the finals. So again, we've said finals, it's going to be Anisimova versus Iga Swiatek and Sinner Part 2. Jannik Sinner versus Carlos Alcaraz.
Yes.
Another 5-setter?
Probably. Well, there's precedent for this. Again, tennis history nerd brain out. This has happened before in terms of you get the same people, they play an epic 5-setter and then they play another one almost straight away. I'm pretty sure Federer and Nadal's next match after that 2008 Wimbledon classic was that 2009 Australian Open 5-setter they played, and that was the next time they played each other.
Yeah, but I actually think in that year they played French Open and then Wimbledon.
Yes, they did, which is that's the last time that you had the same final at the French and Wimbledon back to back.
Yeah.
And then I guess the most relevant one, another relevant one would be, again, very famous match from 1980 between Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe. You probably definitely have heard of John McEnroe because he commentates a lot now. They played a Wimbledon final that basically everyone raved about for the next 20 to 30 years. But nobody remembers they played a US Open final the same year, straight afterwards. And that also went 5 sets. So it is not unheard of for these great rivalries to follow up a 5-setter with another 5-setter. It might not be the same level of epic, but it's still going to be a lot of fun. It's still going to be really competitive, and you still won't have any idea which way it's going to go. And that's what we're hoping for, really, from Alcaraz and Sinner. And this is like the third time in a row where they've both been in a draw and they've got to the final.
Yeah, there you go. It's, I've been posting this, but I just want to see some good tennis. So Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, show me some good tennis. Something I wanted to bring up, because we haven't really actually talked about it at all I don't think we have actually. I'm not sure, but this tournament, and I heard it on the tennis podcast the other day, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And maybe, I don't know if you've heard this, but Nick, when was the last time someone was in the finals of Wimbledon and their initials was A?
AA. What are the women's or either?
Either.
Okay. Arthur Ashe, 1975.
There you go. Well done, Nick. You win. But Arthur Ashe was the last person with AA initials in the Wimbledon finals. That was 50 years ago, and Wimbledon has been celebrating this year being the 50th anniversary. I think they posted something to their Instagram about it, and ESPN did like a little special on the day that it happened, and our friends over at Blackspin Global have been celebrating this whole tournament because they've been doing daily episodes, and they've been celebrating Arthur Ashe's the 50th anniversary of him winning. And now we have another AA in the finals. I don't know if that gives her a little bit of an edge, but Amanda Anisimova and Iga Swiatek haven't played since juniors, is what I learned. Yeah. I find it incredible that they've not played on tour except for juniors before.
And the same age. Well, a few months apart. Like, they're both born in 2001. It's just they just haven't played each other until now. So yeah, and their games have changed a lot since they were juniors. So there's a lot of unknowns for both of them going into this. It's Anisimova's first Grand Slam final. It's Iga's sixth. She's never lost one. Well,
someone's record's going to be broken. Whose is it?
Pretty much. I mean, look, someone is... it's so crazy to think. And like, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with this final. Like, Amanda Anisimova's like the fourth American in a row to reach a Grand Slam final. You've had Pegula, Keys, Goff, and now Anisimova. Both of them are going to win a Wimbledon title. Like, this is the furthest either have ever got at Wimbledon. Of the quarterfinals lineup, Sabalenka was the only one who'd ever made a semi-final before. Nobody had been to a final. So yeah, it's a big moment for both of them, and they're both playing so well, and it's really tough to call which way this is going to go. And it's hard when you don't have the same kind of name recognition, unless you're not a hardcore tennis fan like us. Like, if you've been listening to the podcast, you'll know who these two are. You know, I think hopefully you'll really like it is worth getting excited about. But this one, I think the minute the tennis starts, it'll sell itself.
100%. And, you mentioned there, Amanda Anisimova is the fourth American woman in a row to get to finals of a Grand Slam. We've kind of mentioned throughout this year, like, American tennis on the women's side, they're having such a great time. There's so many of them in the top 20, so many of them in the top 50. And this is kind of the result of that, having them sort of push higher and higher up. And if you don't know who Iga Swiatek is, like, where have you been? Like, what rock are you living under? Just in all honesty.
One of the reasons why I joined this podcast was I was sick of explaining to people who Iga Swiatek was, because I kid you not, I've sat in the queue with people at Wimbledon and they didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm making a joke here. You are unfortunately not wrong. There are a lot of people who just don't know who Iga Swiatek is. And this is something that we wanted to do, but sort of the workload got too crazy. But we will definitely do this for the US Open. But Nick made these videos of what I kind of call the contenders. Like, who are the players, up and coming, top of the game, all the levels, because I frankly am tired of watching those videos. It happens a lot during the Australian Open where they have a mic at the entrance and they ask people like, who do you want to win the Australian Open this year? And people are like, Roger Federer, Serena Williams. I'm like, they don't play anymore. And they're saying it, and it's not, you would think, these people are joking. I'm like, no, they're being serious. Like, that's who they think is going to win the Australian Open in 2025. I'm like, those people haven't played in a while. So Nick had these great videos Couldn't get them out this time, but I promise they will be out. We'll do new versions for the US Open just to sort of give you who the contenders are, because you should know who Iga Swiatek is. She used to be the number one player in the world, but she's at that level. Like, I don't know where she's at now, but she's probably going to be back there anytime soon. So it's important to know who these contenders are, especially if you're getting into tennis and you want it, because frankly, you're missing out on good tennis if you're missing out on watching all these contenders. And that's my soapbox of the day.
I'm looking forward to making those US Open videos, that's for sure. And I have an idea of how to make the concept that I trialed with you, Anastasia, like even better. So hopefully, you'll get to enjoy those and you'll be able to see who these people are that you'll be seeing a lot on the big courts.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for joining us for another recap episode. These are always fun. It's always nice, like trying to remember the matches and be like, oh yeah, that happened. So one more of these to come, which we will record on Sunday after the finals, and it will be out on Monday next week. Excited either way to see who comes out on top. And this has been a great Wimbledon. Like the excitement, the craziness of the first few days up until now, it's actually been pretty fun Wimbledon.
I'm going to be sad when it's over. This has been one of the best Wimbledons I've had, and I'm so glad I've been able to watch so much of it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, see you all in a few days. Bye, guys.